Hey guys, it's JJ. Welcome back to the Texans franchise. We are done with season 2 and we had a 3-14 record. Today we're going to go through all the stats, all the important stuff around this team and its players, and we're going to start with the individual stats. And that's going to be quarterback up first. Davis Mills, over 5,000 yards, 28 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. It wasn't a horrible season, but he still was missing throws here and there. It wasn't like every other throw, but enough to make me want to change quarterback. The problem is this draft class doesn't include a quarterback that I want to draft and that I'm like excited about. So there is probably one more season of Davis Mills, and if he gets better at that, maybe he's gonna stay. Dameon Pierce, almost 1,300 yards, 15 touchdowns, 4 yards a carry on the dot. Fine season. I like him as a full-time starter. Then we've got Ty Johnson, who got carries here and there, like 1 or 2 a game. Also got a touchdown and 96 yards, 3.7 a carry. The offensive line needs to get better. Dameon Pierce is kind of hiding that with his break tackle abilities. For receivers, we have Justin Ross, almost 1,900 yards, 12 touchdowns. Played 16 games, so he missed 1 due to injury. Really good season. AJ Lincoln, 92 receptions, almost 1,200 yards, 5 touchdowns. I liked where his game is a lot. Brandon Cooks missed no games this season, but he is kind of in a weird spot on this team. He has almost 1,200 yards as well, 8 touchdowns, better average per reception than AJ Lincoln because he's an outside receiver. But he has the deep speed, but we don't have the time in the pocket. And he doesn't have the release to get off the line quickly. That's why his receiving yardage is down. Brevin Jordan, 539 yards, only 2 touchdowns. Kind of solid, but probably going to replace him with that tight end in the draft. Dameon Pierce, got a catch here and there, nothing special. Nico Collins, probably going to be gone after this season. Gary Gordon, a rookie slot receiver with 97 speed. When he played pretty well, I think. Had issues with coming up with the football, like over the middle and stuff, but on like corner routes, he was very good. So that's where we are at receiver. Now the biggest problem of this entire team, the tackle situation. Andre Dillard is not going to be the guy going forward. Greg Springs right now is a good run blocker, not so much as a pass protector, which is why it was easy running behind him with Dameon Pierce, but he allowed too many sacks. Our left tackle situation was awful. We have Owen Freeman there. He played like 35% of snaps at that spot, and he was awful. Laramie Tunsil played fine. Missed a lot of games, just played in 10 games. That's just a little bit more than half the season. We got Rasheed Walker from the Falcons practice squad. Played pretty awful too, even more awful than Owen Freeman. So we need a new tackle duo. Eric McCoy, center, played fine. Is more of a run blocker than a pass protector, I guess. Kenyon Green played pretty well. I'm pretty happy with his play. Also, although he also missed some games. So there is just nothing along that offensive line that's really exciting, and we need to get better in that area. And having a 5,000-yard quarterback just proves that we were behind in too many games, and we had to throw a lot in the second half of games. Tackling leader Chris Portillo had Eric Murray, and slot corner Desmond King. Linebacker situation looks pretty bad too. I think that going forward, Chris Portillo in the last game, we got him the star dev. So, and a lot of XP. I think we're going to be fine with Portillo as our starting middle linebacker in the future. But for now, the run defense needs to be shored up, especially along the defensive line. Matt Ioannidis played fine. I think it was better than in the first season, but there is still a lot left to be desired. And sacks, that was an awful season for pass rush. Marcus Davenport did not have the impact at all that I hoped he would have, but he also missed some games sadly. 4.5 sacks is not enough though, even for his snap count. AJ Epinesa, I think he was pretty much on par with the expectations I had for him. He split his role with Jonathan Grenard. Both of them did pretty okay. Or at least Epinesa did his part, I think. Ioannidis is a good run stopper, had 4 sacks. I think I'm fine with that. Ross Blacklock, 4 sacks as a pass rusher. Yeah, I'm not sure if that is enough as an interior rusher. And his run defense is pretty awful. Jabari Zuniga came in as a backup, 3.5 sacks. That's pretty nice actually for his snap count. Jonathan Grenard, 2.5 sacks, not enough. He's probably gonna be gone. Kendall Sheffield as a slot corner had 2 sacks. That is awesome. Blake Cashman 1.5. Chris Portillo 1.5. I think that both of them are fine blitzing linebackers, but they need to do better in run defense. 4 interceptions. We just had 7 in total, which is not enough. But our top 2 guys, obviously, Alex Day and Derek Stingley, each got 2. I think that mostly their coverage was good enough that they didn't get targeted all season. Although I also gotta say Alex Day missed some interceptions. I think he could have had like 4 or 5 if he was a little bit more aggressive playing the ball. But if his coverage is getting better, I'm fine with him just having 1 or 2 interceptions a season, as long as he's shutting everybody down. And then for forced fumble, I can't even believe Chris Portillo is leading us in that category. He is not even that hard a hitter, but he still leads the team in forced fumbles. I'm really disappointed here in our defensive line. There were not enough strip sacks of the quarterback, and that needs to get better. Matthew Ioannidis had 1 of them. Jabari Zuniga had 1 of them. That is not enough. And especially somebody like Marcus Davenport, he needs to get around the edge a little faster, close on the quarterback from the blind side, force a couple fumbles. We also didn't have much luck recovering those fumbles, although that is just like a pure luck thing, never a like a skill thing, falling on the football. Yeah, it's just a matter of who's right next to the football when it gets fumbled. And yeah. Kickers, Kaimi Fairbairn, I think this is fine. He made most of his field goals I could make. All of the field goals he missed was like beyond 50, I think. And so that's fine. And then Cameron Johnston, pretty happy with him as a punter. I don't think we're going to have to change anything there. Both of those guys I already redid the contracts during the season. So they are going to be here for 1 more year. Now let's go over individual stats around the league. Joe Burrow leads the league in passing yardage, almost 5,400. That is really great. Davis Mills is second to him, but I already said it's not like his completion percentage is out of this world. We had to throw it so much in second halves of the season that there's just no winning. And yeah, you're gonna end up with a lot of passing yardage if you're down by halftime in every game. Most touchdowns: Aaron Rodgers 49, Dak Prescott 45, Joe Burrow 43. So there's a lot of touchdowns that going around this league. It's an offensive league now. Records are broken all the time, and it looks like it in this season too. Jonathan Taylor, almost 2,000 yards, 22 touchdowns. But I also see Joe Mixon down there at 1,500 yards and 25 touchdowns on the ground. Najee Harris, 1,600. Kareem Hunt, also 1,600. Ezekiel Elliott, 1,500, like in every Madden ever. And Alvin Kamara, 1,480. Joe Mixon here with 25 touchdowns that led the league. That is absolutely awesome. And Dameon Pierce is just down the board here at 1,300 yards and 15 touchdowns. So yeah, he also had by far the most fumbles of all of those running backs just mentioned. He had 5 fumbles toward the end of the season. It was getting pretty bad, but yeah. Justin Ross leads the league in receiving yardage. Cooper Kupp leads the league in receptions. And on touchdowns, I think it's Jacoby Myers, which is kind of ridiculous. Stephon Diggs is just shy of every one of those things. And yeah, Jacoby Myers has 18 touchdowns this season playing in Green Bay. Jamar Chase had a nice season, although just 8 touchdowns. Devontae Adams had a fine season. There is another one with 18 touchdowns. Down the board is Devontae Smith with 18 as well. That is ridiculous. 18 scores as a receiver. Wow. That's more than 1 a game, by the way. 1,400 yards or 1,356 for him. And yeah, we're gonna go straight to the defense. And we have tackle leader in the league is Divine Diablo 156. This is kind of ridiculous. Divine Diablo leads the league in tackling. Kenneth Murray second to him. And in the NFC, it's Eric Kendricks and Jordan Brooks. So yeah, nothing really all that surprising. We didn't have the linebackers to compete with any of that. But sack statistics are more interesting than that. Anyway, Aaron Donald 22, Brian Burns 19.5. So those are the top edge rushers in the league now. Von Miller has 23 sacks. This is ridiculous. Myles Garrett 21.5. So yeah, this is the top edge rushers in the league. And then interceptions in the AFC. Tre'Davious White has 8, and that is something that he has always been very good at. Shaq Griffin and Sauce Gardner are on that list too. But in the NFC, there's only a few guys with like 4 interceptions. So nothing all that interesting, I guess. And then we're going to go over to forced fumbles, which in the NFC is led by Bobby Wagner. He forced 3. That is pretty awesome. Micah Parsons obviously got in there. And then 2 safeties. Kyle Young and Tracy Walker had 2 forced fumbles each. So that's pretty fun. And then in the AFC, we have a bunch of guys with 2 forced fumbles. So Bobby Wagner actually led the entire league in forced fumbles. Now we have a Chris Portillo down the list with 2 forced fumbles as well. And that means he actually leads the league, the conference in forced fumbles technically, split with like 10 other guys. Then we have team stats to go over. We have the Bengals at over 7,000 yards of total offense, and that leads the league by far because their defense just doesn't look all that great. The Texans are just like right in the middle of the board. It was kind of forced because I had to throw it a lot, which always results in inflated numbers. If we had a more evenly spread out team and we weren't down by so much at halftime all the time, I think we'd be a little lower on the board, but we would have more wins. Passing yardage wise, Bengals top of the list again, and the Texans top 10, which is not surprising since I was, I've been talking about this a lot today. This is just how this team is constructed right now. We are second to last in rushing yardage, and that is no surprise at all. I think we need to improve this offensive line and this defensive line to make the team more evenly competitive, and that will get up the rushing yardage because then we can run it in the second half, hopefully. The Texans points per game 24. Well, that's kind of below average, but it's not horrible, I guess. Also, if you have to throw it a lot in the second half and get a lot of points in garbage time, that doesn't mean anything for your win total. It just inflates this number here. Passing touchdowns, Texans are at 28, which means kind of below average, but not awful, but still below average. This would be fine if the rushing touchdown number would be better, but it isn't. And that results in a low total touchdown number that is probably bottom 5 in the league. Next season, this has got to change. I think that there is a way to get this team better at rushing the football, and that means a little bit of more defense and less being down by halftime, and then we're gonna rush it a little better. But in total, 45 touchdowns is not enough. That is like 2.5 touchdowns a game, a little bit more. First downs gained. Bengals top of the list, Texans second. I do not know how this number occurred, or although I have an explanation, a theory. It is, I think, because we had such a bad tackle situation, we were not able to complete a lot of deep balls, which meant we had to crawl our way down the field all the time. We had to get first down after first down on every play. We were not very explosive down the field. And that is, I think, why our touchdowns always resulted on like 10 play drives and stuff, or from 10 play drives and stuff. Total yardage allowed, this defense was awful. This was a bottom 5 defense, and it shows in the numbers too. This front 4 is horrible at run defense. We are getting run over almost every game. It's not going to show in those numbers probably. Or actually the other way around. Our pass defense is probably going to look pretty good compared to our run defense, because teams didn't have to throw at us that much. See, we're just like average against the pass, but against the rush we are probably gonna be horrible, because teams are gonna run on us every second half, and that is inflating that number too. And yeah, we are by far the worst rush defense in the league, and that needs to get improved. As I was saying, the interior defensive line looks pretty awful, and it results in people just being able to run over this defense. Points allowed, second to worst. No surprise here either. This is just, this needs to change. We need to get stronger in the trenches. We need to get 2 new tackles, because Laramie Tunsil doesn't want to come back. So probably gonna tag and trade or something like that. The Texans also, like, this is even a higher number than I expected, 31 QB sacks, because that sack, those sacks in the individual stats looked pretty bad, and it is because we had lots of blitzes where linebackers or slot corners got free rushes, and I think that is inflating the number. And also there was a lot of coverage sacks. If we were talking straight pass rush, if you took out every blitz, I think there would be like 3 sacks left or something. Fumble recoveries, we had 4, which is kind of average. But I think that was, we had like 8 or 9 forced fumbles, so kind of unlucky, I guess. 7 interceptions, that is not enough, obviously. That is, bottom 10. But it is also not that surprising, because people are just gonna run over this defense in the second half. They're not prone to make mistakes when they're not prone to throw interceptions when you're running the football, obviously. Third down percentage, Bengals top of the list again. Texans, not so much. We were not able to get the run going in a lot of those games, which led to tough third down conversions, and we weren't able to get them because the tackle situation is too bad. So it again comes down to the offensive line here. You need to get into better third downs for you to be able to get a higher number on that. The fourth down percentage is kind of random at times, but I guess we were pretty solid at it, which kind of comes down to selection. Where do you go for it on fourth down? Do you go for it when it's 4th and 5, or do you punt it? And if you're like very conservative with that, you might end up with a higher number. Red zone efficiency is something that we are awful at somehow, but this number only calculates the touchdowns. How many touchdowns did you get out of your red zone trips, and not field goals? And this is something we need to work on, because we can't go to the red zone 72 times and then not even get 40 touchdowns out of it. That is just not enough. Red zone percentage for the defense is pretty awful for opponents. Like, our red zone defense was pretty spot on. That was really special. That is 41% is leading the league by so much. I can't even explain how we did it. I think it's just something that is built into the game with how plays are run in the red zone, and the CPU is usually too slow to get the ball off, and it leads to forced fumbles and huge sack numbers before they even see that the rush is coming. Needless to say, with our turnover creation, we are pretty much bottom 5, bottom 3 maybe even, with the turnover differential, so no surprise there either. I think that you could get this number up by not having that many fumbles, but Davis Mills had lots of stripped sacks, and I think I forgot to look at his number, but I think he had so many, he was sacked so much is probably a new record. We only had 12 takeaways, and I'm not sure how this number is calculated because it says 7 plus 4. That to me is just 11. Not sure what happened there. Maybe you forced block field goals come into the equation or something. I'm not sure. That leads to the worst record in football, tied with the Lions. We should be having the 1 or 2, the number 1 or 2 pick in the next draft. And of course, if you enjoyed this series, please leave a like, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We're gonna go over the playoffs now, one by one. I'm just gonna get into the interesting games. The 2 seed Bills are kicked out of the playoffs by the Broncos, and with the same result, the Steelers also win. So yeah, and then also somebody that won is the Baltimore Ravens, and in the process they beat out the Colts while Matt Ryan threw 4 interceptions. Are you kidding me? The only AFC South team that made it there got kicked out because Matt Ryan threw 4 interceptions. That is unbelievable. And he didn't even get sacked once, so the pressure cannot be that high. And yeah, so this didn't end well. Marlon Humphrey with 2 picks. Patrick Queen got in there. And B. Stevens, not sure who he is. He might be Brandon Stevens. I'm not sure if I know him. But yeah, that defense was all over the Colts. And so that means that the 5, 6, and 7 seeds are all moving on to the next round, where they are going to clash with the number 1 seed. And that means that the 5 seed Baltimore Ravens are going to host a home playoff game against the Steelers, which they won 48-3. They beat out the Steelers by 45 points in the playoff game. And again, the Ravens collect 4 interceptions. Baker Mayfield throws 4 picks. He also did not get sacked even once, so it cannot be that bad. His quarterback rating is 15.4. I'm not sure if you can even go that low. That is awful, dude. Marlon Humphrey gets another one. Marcus Peters, K'Wan Williams, and Eric Sidney get in there with interceptions. And the Baltimore Ravens are moving on, where they meet the Bengals, because 35-14 over the Broncos. The high-flying Bengals offense is then proceeds then to be knocked out of the playoffs because they lose to the Baltimore Ravens. This time they only did get 0 interceptions. Joe Burrow didn't throw any in that game, but the Ravens are going to the Super Bowl behind 8 interceptions in 3 games. In the NFC, pretty much straightforward. The Packers beat out the Bucks, the Panthers beat out the Eagles, and Washington somehow wins over the Rams. So the 1 seed Cowboys 38-35 over Washington. The Panthers beat the Packers, and then in a low-scoring game, the Panthers move on against the Cowboys to the Super Bowl. So it's going to be a Baltimore-Carolina Super Bowl, which is kind of a weird combination. Dak Prescott makes it as QB1, so does Joe Burrow, and Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, just nothing all that interesting. Jonathan Taylor obviously makes it as running back number 1. And somehow there is 2 fullbacks here. I don't know how that is happening still. Justin Ross is in the Pro Bowl for us, and that is the one bright spot we had all season, I guess. Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Tyler Boyd, Tyreek Hill, and Jamar Chase are going to make it as well in the AFC. We do not have a tight end. And we also obviously do not have any linemen making it there. That is so obvious. Because that offensive line of ours is pretty trash. But for the defense, we do have some hopes here for somebody like Chris Portillo. I mean, after all, he did collect an interception and 2 strip sacks on quarterbacks, or 2 fumbles, 2 forced fumbles, and lots of tackles. But sadly, nowhere to be seen. It's Divine Diablo and Kenneth Murray in the middle. And then at corner, yeah, we just didn't have enough interceptions to go around for making it there. And I think this is going to be continuing for a while because there's just not enough interceptions on defense. And I don't think Derek Stingley and Alex Day excel at taking the football away. They excel at covering players and forcing breakups. And that means that we only have 2 players in the Pro Bowl, and the other one is a kicker. So there is only really 1 player in the Pro Bowl. And the league MVP is Dak Prescott, who got knocked out in the championship game ahead of Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers also got knocked out against the Panthers in the divisional round. Josh Allen up there, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. This is what the league looks like. Somehow Daniel Jones is up there. I don't know how that happened. Let's look at the AFC Offensive Player of the Year award. It's Jonathan Taylor, no surprise there. But Justin Ross comes in 4th. And he already had almost 1,900 yards. Imagine if he had played that other game, get another 100, 120 yards, maybe making it over 2,000. Maybe that's enough. Maybe. Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's A.J. Lincoln. He wins it over lots of players that had no chance. A.J. Lincoln at last was a 1,000-yard receiver, almost 1,200 yards, by the way. And for a Defensive Rookie of the Year, Alex Day is just 10th after being a number 1 overall selection. That also goes back to the low amount of interceptions he's grabbing. I don't think this is ever going to change. He's just not the player to take it away all that much. Davis Mills somehow is voted 9th best quarterback. Not sure how that happened. Running back Dameon Pierce, also 9th. He just didn't have the volume to compete with the top guys because we did not run it a lot in the second halves. Justin Ross wins best receiver, obviously, with 1,900 yards and 12 touchdowns. Kevin Zeitler, Von Miller win awards, but this is just nothing that the Texans are gonna win at anything here. Best linebacker and best DB, which is where we are also not winning anything. This is just something that, probably is never gonna happen. But that's okay, as long as they cover guys and we collect coverage sacks, I guess. In the NFC, we're just gonna glance over these. Aaron Donald again, Cooper Kupp again. No surprise here. 4 rookies. This is interesting because all the rookie quarterbacks were in the NFC. Tyson Clark, Daniel Alfaro, Nick Norris, and Eric Bayless. And Nick Norris is the one to go to the Super Bowl, but he is not voted Rookie of the Year. It is Tyson Clark. And then just a few more players down the board. So I got really lucky with that award for A.J. Lincoln just because all of the other players went to the NFC. As Rashard Winters is only 10th on that list, but I still can't believe that I missed out on him, man. And then we're going to go down the board here. It's just nothing all that interesting. There is nobody that... Actually, there's one guy, Donnell Hearns, who is also 10th here. Also went to the Seahawks. He was somebody that I was considering instead of Alex Day at some point, but we all knew that Alex Day was going to be the best player in that class, and that's why I took him. And then Zeke wins it again. Cooper Kupp wins it again. There's just not many surprises here. The Cowboys have multiple starters for the Best O-Line award. Aaron Donald wins D-Line award. Shaq Barrett wins the linebacker award. And then Jaquan Brisker at DB. That is kind of interesting. And a rookie kicker for the Saints wins Best Kicker of the Year. We're going to have to talk about some stuff here. Justin Ross gets 2 upgrades here for his award, and he gets +1 speed, +1 deep and medium route running, and +1 release. Man, this guy is going to be dangerous next season. He already had 1,900 yards, and or 1,859, I guess. Let's go one more deep threat. Maybe you can get one more speed. Not this time though, but he gets +3 deep route running, which is cool because route running is something that he lacks. And, by the way, Superstar X Factor. This is something that he just got because of Wide Receiver of the Year. And I hope he can keep it, but 81 overall probably is not going to be enough. I think we'll see it go down again. Justin Ross has now 89 speed, catching ratings that look really promising. And even his route runnings are up there now. AJ Lincoln. He also got an award as Rookie of the Year, and he gets a little bit of everything, I guess. A little bit of deep and medium route running, and I like the spec catch boost, which is not all that important to him since he's a slot receiver, at least for now. And he also got a star, a dev upgrade here, 2-star. He was a normal dev when we picked him, but he now got star dev. And I like that a lot, obviously. And I think that is going to help him get better in the future faster. And his athleticism really is showing that he can do lots of stuff. And there is a good chance that Brandon Cooks might be gone after the season. But we'll go over this team now. These are the 2 only dev trait changes for this team. Davis Mills is the quarterback right now, and he is probably going to be the quarterback going into next season. I don't plan on draft any of these QBs in the draft. They just don't look interesting to me at all. All of them are pocket passers. None of them have like really high ceiling kind of arm talent and explosiveness. We have Dameon Pierce and Ty Johnson. Probably not going to change much here for the running backs. I'm really happy where Dameon Pierce is at with his break tackle abilities. And Terrell Way, the UDFA pickup. Let's see if we can keep him on the roster. Brandon Cooks, this is something that I've talked about in the past. We just can't use his skill set right now because we don't have the tackle depth to use his speed, and he does not have the release to get off the line cleanly. Quickly enough for the tackle duo not to matter. And then we have Nico Collins and AJ Lincoln. Nico Collins, yeah, when he's on the field, mostly he catches everything, but he's just not as exciting. Doesn't produce a lot of yards per reception. And then we have Justin Ross, obviously going to be the number 1 long term. Terrell Ridley looks solid when he's out there, hasn't played much. And Gary Gordon, he has star dev with 97 speed. I think you can do something with that. Tight end Brevin Jordan, I am really happy that I have him. He has really solid athleticism, but with Diego Cordova in the next draft class, I'm looking to move on. But I'm happy also, like if I miss out on Diego Cordova, I'm probably gonna keep Brevin Jordan. And then we have a couple backups that don't matter at all. I already talked about the tackle situation. Andre Dillard, I tried it for 1 season. It's not going to be enough. He's going to be either gone or a backup by the time next season comes around. I cannot imagine playing 1 more season with him. Greg Springs looked solid. I guess his pass pro could use a little refinement. Eric McCoy, Kenyon Green. The interior looks okay. We have 2 young guys and a proven star dev center from the Saints. I think the interior looks fine, but our tackle duo is awful. We still have by the way, Laramie Tunsil. He's just not shown because he's on injured reserve right now. in this screen. And Laramie Tunsil didn't want to extend his contract. I offered him like $23 million a season or something like that, which is already too much, and he doesn't want to take it. So there might be a tag and trade situation, and maybe we get a first rounder out of him. Jonathan Grenard did not produce, 2.5 sacks, not enough. AJ Epinesa, I think, played better with limited snap counts, although still not great. Still looking to add another pass rusher. We have Roy Lopez as the run D guy in the middle. Yeah, it's not enough. He's just a backup level player, and he's not going to be here forever. Matt Ioannidis, as I already said, I thought he was fine. He wasn't like an overing presence on that defensive line, but he made impact, and he also had 4 sacks as a run defender. Ross Blacklock, not enough pass rush, probably going to be gone. Then we have Marcus Davenport, who also isn't shown because he's on injured reserve. He has a multi-year deal, and I'm going to keep him. I'm not going to trade him away, but he has to prove next year that he's worth it. And then Alex Day, superstar dev, Derek Stingley, star dev. Those are our 2 starting corners. We also have Greedy Williams. I'm pretty happy that I still have him. And I'm not sure. I think it was a multi-year deal for him too, so probably going to be back next season as well. Desmond King is our slot corner. I think our corner trio looks really solid, and it's only getting better next season. So it only can get better next season. Eric Murray, strong safety, gonna get replaced. There is 3 interesting safeties in that next draft class, and I might end up taking at least 2 of them. So I think our safeties are probably going to be backups or gone. Jamie Cantu, still don't know his dev. Will tell you as soon as I know it. Chris Portillo, although I have to imagine it is probably going to be star for Jamie Cantu. Chris Portillo played a fine season, missed a couple of games due to injury. Got him the star dev late last season. I'm really looking forward to his next season with all those ratings boosts from the breakout. And then Blake Cashman looks okay, nothing special. Jalen Petre is not going to be the free safety going into next season. He played awful now for 2 years, and I'm done. And since there's 2 awesome safety prospects in the next draft class, there is a chance that I might be moving on from both my safeties. And yeah, that safety class looks pretty solid. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more Texans franchise. See you in the next episode. Until then, spread some love.